think it's a beautiful representation of chemistry in its physical, in its like real sense of dimension. And hydrogen is a very fascinating element. And I hope today to be able to communicate to you just some of the love I have for it, and I think many of you have been developing it over the years. As Christina mentioned, we've been studying our Kangen water. I personally have been involved in the project for just over 8 years. I absolutely love everything that this company and this incredible technology and the science behind it stands for. And I think today we can just go a little bit deeper and build on what Rick has showed us, what Dr. Filzer introduced us to and expanded on, and just look at some science, some really incredible research that's been done specifically on hydrogen. So, without any longer ado, the power of hydrogen. We're going to understand the hydrogen, so we're going to understand what it is. I'm going to look at the current science and what does it mean for our health and physiological body. And then we're going to take a look at the hydrogen that can be produced through electrolytes-reduced water, or the hydrogen that's produced and dissolved in the water that we're drinking, and how that is superior to a lot of other forms. Hydrogen is easily the most abundant element in the universe, and it is said that some of the planets, even like Jupiter, are made mostly of hydrogen. The Earth, however, the majority of hydrogen on Earth and on our planet is concentrated in the water. Very little of it is found in the atmosphere, and just because of its affinity to, it's just so light and it's so small, there's an affinity to escape our atmosphere. And so most of it we'll find in water. And then we can definitely dissolve it or reduce it from there. When you look, I know many of you are familiar with the periodic table, and if you remember from biochemistry or chemistry 101, you will see that the hydrogen is on the very far top right. That is the smallest, the lightest element found in the universe. So isn't it incredible that we can actually work with this incredible element, that we have access to this incredible element, that we can actually capture it and bring it into our body? So a lot of it, a lot of the history, a lot of understanding of hydrogen started way, way long ago. In the beginning of the 1500s, the alchemist Paracelsus, I can never pronounce his name, he observed the bubbles of hydrogen. And then we had Robert Boyle that continued and observed it as well. But it's the Henry Cavendish who actually gets the credit of being able to collect hydrogen and review and understand the hydrogen gas and observe that it's actually flammable. So the name to the hydrogen was given by Antoine Lavoisier, and he called it water forming. Hydrogen was given to the name of this, for this atom, for this molecule was given to it based on its principle of the fact that it's water forming. So it can be derived from water and it can reduce back into the water. What we're going to talk about today is going to be the diatomic or dihydrogen, or H2, or hydrogen gas. So we are going to look not at one single hydrogen molecule that you saw on the screen when you play the video, but you're going to take a look at them bound together. When it binds, when two hydrogens bind is when they become stable. Some see hydrogen as a clear fuel, and probably many of you have heard that hydrogen can be powering things. How many of you have heard of the hydrogen bomb or hydrogen fuel cell technology? We have technologies and the buses and the cars that can be and have been experimented on and have been driven and use the hydrogen technology. So it's an incredible power molecule. It's also used in multiple industries. It is used in chemistry, in food production, or dissociation, or work with that in processing. It can also be used in oil and gas refining. It can be used in many other industries. Concentration is observed in the tissues, and it's easily starting, the hydrogen starts to absorb and get into our body from the very beginning, and that process starts in the mouth. Just like Dr. Filzer mentioned very often, before it moves down, and as it moves down to esophageal sphincter, it's readily observed, and that is because of hydrogen's affinity and ability to penetrate tissue. It's gaseous, and it really easily moves through our organs, through our tissues, through all of our cells. So as it moves down and is being observed, it's becoming available for all of this tissue, for all of the cells, and as Rick mentioned, it takes up to 10 minutes for it to move over and all over the body. So the interesting thing, guys, is that we are producing hydrogen. And we are producing hydrogen when we actually consume fruits and vegetables, and it's produced by the bacteria breaking down that fiber and cellulose. So there's about, it's told, or at least that's what, there's multiple references that I found, but one of them is that we can produce up to 11 liters of hydrogen in our intestinal tract. So that's really fascinating. So we're able to produce it, and the body is producing it to keep us alive, to provide for that energy, to provide for that antioxidant, to dealing with a lot of things that we are doing that we shouldn't be doing in our lifestyle. So the body is constantly using it. If the hydrogen is consumed in a higher norm that we'll find appropriate, or we can try different therapies, but the beautiful thing that it is safe in any concentration that has been tested so far, because any extra hydrogen will just leave the body through respiration or leave the body through the tissues. So that's the beautiful thing. It's a very unique element because there's lots of other antioxidants that you can overdo. You can overdo and overconsume antioxidants. When it comes to this antioxidant, it's phenomenal because you cannot, there's no concentration that has been found today that can actually cause a toxic effect, which is really incredible. There are several methods to administer hydrogen, such as inhalation of hydrogen gas, and there are special gas chambers, there are special hydrogen chambers that are being built, so it can be inhaled. The aerosol inhalation, the hydrogen-rich solution, drinking hydrogen in dissolved water, I believe, is probably the most comfortable, the easiest way of consuming it every day, and the most cost-effective way. Injecting hydrogen-rich saline is another option as well. As has been mentioned today, there's over 600, and now we're actually talking about 700 different studies that have found its way to the public, in where we can actually assess and try to start trying to understand how phenomenal hydrogen is when it comes to our health and physiology. To this day, we find that there is still the people that are researching this, we're still in a very infant stage at understanding the power, the potential of this incredible element. To this day, even though we have so many studies, there are 1,600 scientists that are actually dedicated their life and their time to it at this moment. And I think more and more are coming on board every day to continue studying this incredible element. And so far, it's been concluded that we still don't really understand its full potential in physiological body. So the beautiful thing about science, that is just the beginning, is just where the really infant stages of understanding and seeing how much can be done, and why our water really works. Because we've had different, as you guys know, some of us have joined the business 10 years ago, 15 years ago, maybe 8 years ago. And as you see, even our understanding of the power or why our water works has constantly been evolving. We're getting more and more educated. We have deeper and deeper understanding. And this is going to continue for a very long time. So be very patient with yourself and understand that this is going to be a lifelong journey. And I'm sure Dr. Filter will agree with me when I say that this is a field that has incredible potential to expand, and there's a lot to be done still. The study out of Nippon University, the Octa, by Dr. Octa, was done in 2007. It was done in 2006, and it was published in 2007. And that's the study that became monumental in this birth of research that appeared in our society to continue on this momentum. So that's incredible. There are many publications in all of these journals on this specific subject. And as I said, it's going to continue. So you can find this research from those publications when you're searching it on PubMed, when you're searching it on Google Scholar. So all of this can be found there. So let's go back into understanding antioxidant and what makes hydrogen as a very unique antioxidant. We know that antioxidants, at least I think most of you guys understand, that antioxidants are very powerful and very important in our life. We're constantly exposed to a lot of oxidation. So what are free radical or oxidants? They are molecules that are damaging cellular membrane or cellular tissue, or essentially very reactive. So they can potentially damage. And many of them have an oxygen, they have an oxygen in them, and so they're called oxidants. And so what happens with free radical damage, whether it comes from smoking, like Dr. Filzer showed, whether it comes from drinking, over drinking, I guess I should say, so you don't hate me. The eating food that's contaminated with a lot of chemicals, stressing, driving in traffic, having emotional stress, losing a loved one, whatever that is, all of those things cause a lot of free radical damage. And a lot of free radicals are actually generated by our body. So when we are going through stress, physiological, mental, or emotional, there is a free radical generation that could happen. There is also natural occurrence of free radicals when we even breathing, just basic cellular respiration creates a lot of free radicals. However, if we, and we are built, and there is lots of potential for us to receive a lot of antioxidants, if we were living and if our lifestyle was the kind of lifestyle that we were meant to live, if we lived in the loving communities and surrounded by incredible emotion, comfortable state of mind most of the time, that relaxation state, the body will produce a lot of antioxidants to deal with them. If we're eating what we're supposed to eat, like a lot of fruits, vegetables, greens, drink a lot of good water, we would also generate a lot of antioxidants. So we can also consume antioxidants in supplementation. So consuming antioxidants in supplementation, if anybody, guys, do you have any idea? Can you name a few, just the ones that you know?
Kangen water.
Kangen water is a fantastic antioxidant. Okay, so we can get it from food. Green tea, broccoli, vitamin C, glutathione, superfoods, right? So we're thinking superfoods that have a lot of nutrients. Okay, awesome. So a lot of naturally occurring elements or naturally occurring foods or naturally occurring water will have those antioxidants. And we definitely want to have a lot of access to it. When it comes to supplementation, people are consuming they can consume glutathione and acetylcysteine, they can consume vitamin C, they can consume a lot of different things to boost that antioxidant storage, to help the body to deal with stress. And there are many antioxidants, which we'll talk about in a second. So the interesting thing about other antioxidants, when they donate an electron to a free radical, very often they either become a free radical themselves or reduce in a way where the body still has to spend a lot of energy to eliminate it. So they're good donors, but not the best donors. What's fascinating about hydrogen is that it's a donor that just gives and it just is. It essentially becomes, I'll show you some examples of how it turns into a water, but it's no longer, the body doesn't have to deal with any byproduct. And that's what's beautiful. So when we look at it, I remember we discussed the fact that it's the lightest and the smallest antioxidant found in the universe, or at least so far that we were able to find. The size of it, if you compare it to antioxidants, to other antioxidants you might be consuming in your food or in supplementation, is dramatically different. Hydrogen is 176 times smaller, or dihydrogen, or H2, is half of that. Of a vitamin C, and a vitamin C is an incredible antioxidant. Anybody who knows me, heard me speak on nutrition or preventative medicine, I love vitamin C. There's over 50,000 periodic reviewed papers on vitamin C alone. 10% of that on vitamin C and cancer. It's an incredible antioxidant. It gets into the cell. It looks very much like sugar, so cancer cells suck it in, and what it does, it destroys it from within. It literally explodes that cancer cell. So it's it's like a perfect chemo agent, and it's a very powerful antioxidant. So this very powerful antioxidant is so much larger than our hydrogen. And then you look at coenzyme butane, glutathione, vitamin E, and the like. All of these antioxidants are incredible, and you should always strive to get them from your diet and lifestyle. However, they cannot compare to the antioxidant like hydrogen. It's so small. It's like trying to, parking a bicycle versus parking a big bus. So how do you get that into the cell? How do you get that to actually work on your body on a deep level? So this is a fantastic study. And that is how the vitamin C is enhanced by threefold when it's used with hydrogen-rich water, with ERW water. So our water, so we're talking about incredible vitamin C and all its anti-cancer potential, phenomenal for cardiovascular system, like ground substance in arteries, and a lot of activities in cardiovascular system. As Dr. Filter said, it's phenomenal, and how much nutrients and how much our body is required, how much our heart is needing, the proper elements. And so antioxidant like vitamin C is phenomenal. So what if you could actually get that second best antioxidant to work 3 times stronger and 3 times better than it would have without it? So it's just really fantastic what ERW can do to our to vitamin C and other antioxidants. So hydrogen acts as a therapeutic antioxidant by selectively reducing cytotoxic oxygen radicals. This is a really fascinating point. So we talked about there are many antioxidants to essentially work and put away and destroy or neutralize the free radicals. And the interesting thing is there are some free radicals in our body that actually have a biological, biochemical importance and a function in our body. So what's interesting about hydrogen, it's a very selective antioxidant. It actually will not neutralize the oxidant that our body requires. There are certain oxidative processes that are happening in your body that are good and that are needed. So it will selectively only take care and neutralize the oxidants that do not have that have a cytotoxic, cellular toxic effect. Does that make sense? Yes. Awesome. So I'll read this over to you. Stress is, persistent oxidative stress is accepted as one of the causes of many common diseases, including cancer. So we're just talking about oxidative stress is really bad. We show here that hydrogen, H2, has a potential as an antioxidant in preventative and therapeutic application. We induce acute oxidative stress in cultured cells by 3 independent methods. H2 is selectively reduced, the hydroxyl radical, the most cytotoxic of reactive oxygen species, and effectively protected the cells. However, H2 did not react with the reactive oxygen species, which possess physiological role in your human or animal body. And that's incredible. So this study became a monumental study, and this is why we have 1,600 researchers are looking at hydrogen since 2007. So the power of hydrogen. As you saw that study, it talked about the reactive oxygen species like the hydroxyl radical. This is one of the most toxic free radical to our physiological body. And the most incredible thing about hydrogen, that it very easily neutralizes this, turning it into water. So you have one of the most toxic free radicals out there that's causing a lot of damage to a human physiological body, and you have this incredible hydroxyl radical that just disseminates it without any byproduct, without any damage, and without any essentially giving your body what it needs, water. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. How many of you know what mitochondria is? All of you? Most of you? Some of you. Mitochondria are engines of your cells. Just imagine the engine in a car that pretty much keeps that going, keeps that running. So you have multiple mitochondria in your cells. Those mitochondria, those energy elements, those energy organelles inside of your cell produce energy all the time. They produce something we call ATP. What's incredible, of course, is mitochondria is being stressed a lot around by the environment and toxic stress and emotional, physical, mental stress through our body. So it gets affected. Stressed mitochondria will very often produce a lot of free radicals or a lot of toxic byproducts. So that's what happens to stressed mitochondria. What hydrogen can do, we told you already that it can easily take care of one of the most toxic free radical. The incredible thing, it can also donate and make your other antioxidant that the body produces work better. So what it does, it upregulates other antioxidants in your body. So we all run out of antioxidants. We have the systems built in our body to constantly deal with stress, to constantly keep us alive, to keep us, to survive. It's our survival mechanism. And so we have those we have that process always activated in our body. But the incredible thing about the antioxidant and the hydrogen is that it allows for those depleted storages or that antioxidant production to be boosted up threefold or whatever that requires. But it's incredible at making that process of antioxidant creation or upregulating those incredible enzymes and those incredible antioxidants that the body is creating. So it makes your own antioxidant stronger, and then it also is an antioxidant that is very smart. And this is the mechanism of this and how it reduces oxidative stress through specific pathways and works with them really, really well. Let's take a look at another study. And this is just to show you, this actually comes from a fantastic review done by a Japanese board, and it's an incredible review of a lot of different studies that were summarized in this paper. So I'm going to have a few pictures for you that discuss this paper. So a function of, the interesting thing, the Japanese look at this and they call this the functional therapeutic effect. So they show that hydrogen, electrolyzed reduced water, gives us a lot of functional therapeutic modalities. The antioxidant hydrogen is found to be an incredible medical grade antioxidant. So, and has a therapeutic value, meaning that it can deal with physiological ailments. So we now biologically, biochemically know that it's therapeutically very viable on any human or any human model, a disease model. Clinical data suggests that ERW improves oxygen stress-related diseases. It scavengers reactive oxygen species and inhibits the damage to the DNA. So what's incredible about an antioxidant like free radical, hydrogen or H2, is that it upregulates the function of your antioxidants. It upregulates and modulates the function of your cells, and it also strongly protects the RNA and DNA function in your body. So it's very good at protecting RNA and DNA of your body. And so essentially protecting your genetics. Anti-cancer effects. We already know, and we've heard, and we've seen, and we assume we understand how important antioxidants are when it comes to cancer, right? We guys understand that our water is a very good, beneficial substance in preventing and supporting our body at dealing with the condition that we refer to as cancer. Correct? Awesome. So this is the mechanism of that is that it actually works through multiple ways. When we look at science, and here's just several of them listed, ERW causes telomere shortening in cancer cells. So essentially, their longevity dramatically diminishes. It suppresses tumor angiogenesis, and that is when your tumor essentially grows the vessels and spreads. So it's the growth of the cancer cells. By scavenging intracellular reactive oxygen species, suppressing the gene expression and secretion of vascular endothelium growth factor, suppresses the growth of cancer cells and microorganisms. So it suppresses its growth and vitality, and it upregulates all of the things that can deal with it. This is why it's so effective, and that's why we see people getting really good results using this. And this is why we have a lot of studies associated with cancer. When it comes to neurodegenerative disease, it suppresses neurological the premature cell death or toxicity and essentially dysfunction. So it shows to be very, very protective when it comes to neurology and brain tissue and health of our brain. So it's really fantastic and showed incredible effects. And Dr. Filzer has mentioned how its importance in brain and neurological health as well. So it's fantastic in, again, passing the brain-blood barrier. It is the lightest, smallest element. It can easily penetrate the brain-blood barrier, hydrate your brain, nutrient essentially your brain, provide this protective neurological function, and help the person feel better. And therefore, could potentially be very encouraging when it comes to brain degeneration and brain diseases that are associated. Conclusions and perspective when it comes to this particular research compilation. It suppressed oxidative stresses. Mechanism of action reduce scavenging RS, considering to be, they are considering to be very complicated. And as I said, it's still going to take many years to come for the scientists to fully come to conclusion or a better understanding of all the potential that hydrogen has. And it has a fantastic redox regulation factors that can be induced in gene expression and antioxidant enzymes. So, hydrogen. We're talking about hydrogen and how and what the science show about it. We know that it's incredibly powerful and it's very potent. So where do we get hydrogen from? Right? Their options are, there are some people that understand the value of hydrogen. Now that all of the research is coming out, they understand the value of hydrogen, and so they go to find different ways of producing it. And in some cases, trying to find a very cheap way of producing it. So I just want to show you how it's not that cheap and that easy to produce it, and how the technology that you guys are using is actually incredibly cost effective. So we're looking at magnesium rods and malic acid. Has anybody seen or knows how that is done? It's a very cumbersome process. First of all, you have to get all the tools, you have to get special bottles, you have to, and then to produce one little bottle of hydrogen-rich water, you have to go through a lot of trouble. And you have to contain it in the fridge for an hour and a half. And there's just a lot of time consumption and a lot of effort that's put in to create that. So you can produce hydrogen, or you can dissolve hydrogen in water through this using magnesium rods and malic acid. However, I did a little bit of a calculation. And so if you were to get the cheapest way of the production, if you were to do this, and if you were to spend a lot of time, we're all talking about how important it is, and I know Dr. Filtermini mentioned how important it is to have a proper amount. If we want therapeutic effect, we want proper amount of consumption of hydrogen, right? Proper amount of water that we're drinking. So if we were to, all my numbers are running down to about a gallon. So if we were to consume a gallon of hydrogen-rich water, based on all these other principles, we would spend about $3,500 on producing the hydrogen the cheapest way through magnesium rods and malic acid. That, of course, even if we produce, and we spend a lot of time and keep on doing this, we do not have access to any other benefits of Kangen water. We do not have access to electrolyzed reduced water, oxidizing water. So we're not getting access to 2.5. We're not getting access to 6 pH. We're not getting access to 11.5 pH. And we know that has an incredible value. Another option is getting magnesium tablets. And how many of you, has anybody tried drinking magnesium, the tablets, the hydrogen tablets? Has anybody tried H2 pills? How does it taste?
Terrible.
It tastes terrible. So you can dissolve those pills and you can produce hydrogen water in your glass at request. Simpler, faster way of doing it than doing all this other, the first method. But it tastes terrible. Many of us have not been drinking water because usually regular water tastes terrible, right? Tap water tastes terrible, or just like all these chemicals you can smell and taste. Bottled water tastes terrible. It always tastes and smells like soap to me and all this. And you can almost feel and taste the plastics. So if you were to give people hydrogen-rich water and give them those pills into their water, and it tastes much worse than that, it's very unpalatable. It's not palatable. So it's very hard to drink. How many of you will stick to the routine of drinking hydrogen water produced through tablets? It's almost impossible. And look at the cost associated. If you were to do it over 20 years, and if you consume a gallon of that terrible tasting water every day, your cost will be $116,000. Imagine how many Kangen machines you can have in every room, and every bathroom, and every corner. Then we have prepackaged hydrogen. How many of you have seen those bottles or those little packs, like vacuum sealed bottle containers that sell hydrogen-rich water? Some of you have seen it. It's becoming, guys, because the science of this is becoming so recognized, and because it's becoming so important, so well known, there's going to be a lot of products that are coming onto the market trying to sell you hydrogen-rich water. We're already seeing it. We're already seeing at least a few brands, right, Christina?
Yes, correct.
Thank you very much.
H2 factor is the most popular one, right?
H2 factors is the most popular, and that's the one I calculated. So if we were to buy that water, hydrogen-rich sealed water, let's not talk about the environmental impact. Let's talk about cost alone. $327,000 in 20 years of consuming that. I think nothing has to be said when you see the number. I think our water, I think the Kangen water machine's value is definitely easily seen here. Aluminum reaction with hydrochloric acid production. So the big problem, so that's another method of producing, and there's several others, but unfortunately they are not safe for human consumption. So there's other ways you can create and generate hydrogen-rich substances, however, that's not healthy and safe for your body. Aluminum has no business in our human body and has shown to be a very toxic and a big problem for neurodegenerative disease like Alzheimer's and dementia. Kangen water, so cost of the K8. I calculated, you'll see in the little pale font there, you will see that it has a per serving, I calculated to be about 6 cents per serving. So if we're consuming a gallon of water a day, and if we were to change filters, so the cost of filters and everything has been incorporated. So it costs us about 6 cents per day, and it's going to cost us about $7,000. That machine that we put, that we pay for today, with all the filters and maintenance, is going to cost us $7,000, and maybe a little bit more if you do more cleanings more often and things like that. But it's going to cost us $7,000 in 20 years. Is that comparable to other numbers we have been reciting that I've been sharing with you? Oh, yeah. Okay, so what's expensive, right? Extra value, Kangen water machine produces 5 types of water, and so for that money, you're getting all of this other incredible benefits. And look at the cost associated with not having the water that cleans your fruits and vegetables, the water that cleans your, that disinfects things in your home, the water that can take it literally, as Rick said, you have a doctor on your counter. Produces a lot of medical grade waters and a lot of applications that we know of that can be used. I cannot imagine my practice without this technology. It is truly magic of what it can do and how it can differentiate the practitioner who uses this technology versus the one who doesn't. So this is the last slide, and I just wanted to kind of review and show you how electrolytes reduced water shown to be, there's so many research papers that I show you, but I don't want to bore you with that stuff. I wanted to just show you that whether you have issues with kidney disease, there's an enormous amount, or liver diseases, the two very important filtration organs in your body. And as Dr. Filter mentioned, the liver has 500 plus different biological, biochemical functions in our body, of which we know of today. I'm sure that there is more of which we have not been able to understand. So it's phenomenal for your filtration organs. It's phenomenal for your lymphatic system, guys. Dr. Filter talked about how incredible it is for your cardiovascular system. And your body and your heart is pumping your blood all the time. It makes up your blood. It's a very big component of your blood. Well, the blood is an incredible fluid in your body. Well, guess what? You have a lymphatic system. Lymphatic system is 3 to 4 times larger than your blood. Lymphatic system is where those cells, after metabolizing a lot of things, they're dumping all the waste into the lymph nodes, into the lymphatic system. So it's the sewer. Lymphatic system is the sewer of your body. So now we have the blood that is the kitchen and essentially is the substance or the bodily fluid that feeds all of your cells. And then you have the lymphatic system that cleanses it out. Imagine a house that has a fridge and has grocery deliveries, and you eat there every day, but your carburetor, your garbage, and your toilet does not work. How soon will that house become necrotic and toxic? So we need to keep our lymphatic system functioning. So that's a very, very big, one of the biggest eliminating organ as well. And it's a very important system that we need to address. And so there's a lot of toxicity, and a lot of the chemicals and a lot of the pathogens are brought from the body, from the tissues and the cells into the lymphatic system for your immune system that resides there to deal with it. So it's very important to keep your lymphatic system really healthy. That is definitely exercising, moving, breathing deeply, and drinking a lot of water, perspiring, and moving things in and out of your body, all throughout the body. So the electrolytes reduced water or hydrogen also has I don't know why I just can't pronounce long words today. Lack of sleep for a week. neurodegenerative diseases. So we've talked about them already. Dr. Filter mentioned them as well. Atherosclerosis, guys. Dr. Filter is the doctor to ask when it comes to atherosclerosis. Cardiovascular health is a big problem in our society. It's a big problem in the first world countries, especially just because of our lifestyle. And understanding atherosclerosis is really important. I do believe this technology, this water, this hydrogen is incredible for a cardiovascular system. Absolutely incredible for a cardiovascular system on multiple levels. Anything from reducing and suppressing LDL, low-density lipoprotein oxidation, to suppressing triglyceride levels in the mice models. It has very strong anti-allergic effects, radioprotective effects. So that's why a lot of people do really well, and there's some studies that are showing how well it helps and how much it helps for those who have undergone chemo and radiation, and how well it is, how good it is at repairing and regenerating or supporting the body through all of that stress. It has anti-metabolic acidosis effect, protection of the retina, eye retina. So I think some of you could probably have really good examples or really good testimonials in how your eyesight has actually improved because the hydration of those organs have improved dramatically, or antioxidant effects have improved dramatically. We also have, Dr. Filter mentioned, anti-hangover effects. And hydrogen is fantastic at passing that brain-blood barrier, because what happens when you consume alcohol, it rushes into your blood and it creates that creates a sticky blood. It creates a lot of that what we call the rouleau formations in the blood. And so just because it wipes out the lipid layer of the cells, they stick up and they can't properly travel. That's why we get very drunk. We get drunk because we cannot oxygenate and hydrate the brain effectively. And so we lose our mobility and other things. So we're not hydrating and antioxidant and bringing nutrients into the brain, so we become drunk. What's interesting about hydrogen, it can actually, if you're drinking hydrogen-rich water while you're drinking other things, it will help you and protect your brain from some of the effects of an alcohol. But what's amazing, if you, when you got home, get to your machine and drink a couple of glasses that evening and in the morning, and you'll find incredible ability for the body to recover from the stress that's been induced by alcohol on your body, on your liver, on your kidneys, and all of the dead neurons that are being rejected, that were oxygen deprived because you have a hangover. So it actually will protect and eliminate that stuff fast and allow the body to feel much better, much faster. So anti-side effects on chemotherapy, so it's fantastic at detoxifying and repairing after a chemotherapy has a lot of toxic effects on the human tissue and the organs, so that will help with dealing with some of that. And definitely phenomenal at penetrating aquaporins. We already know that it's phenomenal. It has incredible synergy and ability to get into the cell, get in and out of the cell. So it really makes your cell breathe really well. The interesting thing about hydrogen, guys, it doesn't only get into the cell really well, it gets into the mitochondria of every cell very well. It powers, remember we told you hydrogen is the power molecule. It powers the mitochondria. It's a fuel for the engines of your cells. Think about that. Hydrogen is a perfect, clean fuel for every engine in all of your cells. Every cell needs it. It's fantastic. There's lots of research that shows how incredible it is for type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. And I think you have seen it on your loved ones. It's phenomenal what it can do for pancreas, for liver, for the body's ability, for the insulin sensitivity and receptors. It's amazing what it does for beta cell production. It actually increases the production of beta cells in your pancreas. And that's the problem with a lot of, especially type 1 diabetes. And type 2 is the production is much lower as well. So it's incredible for diabetes. It's incredible for anti-cancer effects. And overall, guys, I think it's one of the best tools one could ever look at, and one must explore this, and definitely keep up the good work and really tireless effort at trying to educate your loved ones, your friends, your family, but also medical practitioners. They need to take a look at the research. They need to take a look at everything that's out there and help spread the word around. Thank you. forgot I have one more slide, and I just wanted to summarize the fact that it's the most bioavailable. It is a therapeutic quality. As Rick said, the 3 top machines that we have, SD501, Platinum White, and K8, have the most therapeutic value, so they produce the most amount of hydrogen and valuable at home. It has all of these types of waters. It's electrolysis of titanium and platinum found to be really, really important in science as well. There's so much research that I've seen in how important in understanding of the platinum electrolysis in the process. It's most convenient home appliance. It is much easier, and it's the best way. It's easier than taking supplements. It's easier than doing, as Dr. Filcher says, consuming all of that food. So it's definitely the easiest and the most incredible tool that you can have on your counter. It's most efficient, and it has an enormous amount of tax advantages, which I'm sure Rick will cover. My time is up. Thank you very much. I enjoyed being here.
Go back on the